Unless you have devoted serious study to warfare, you are not qualified to lead or speak on behalf of the nation. All that money that they gave the people, the stimulus checks. Yeah, that's part of the bread and circuses. They give you something that holds you content, but they give it to you in exact measure. They get you dependent upon it, and they create that loop, that feedback loop, that dopamine drip. And that's how they take your thoughts over. Enlightened. War and leadership. I want to talk to you about leadership of the nation. I'm going to talk to you about warfare. Right here, we got the etymology of war, which is a noun. From late Old English word, large scale military conflict. From Old North French word, war. Old French, guerre, difficulty, dispute, hostility, fight, combat, war. Modern French, guerre. From Frankish, wearer. From Proto-Germanic, words, a source. Words. Source, also Old Saxon, warring. Old High German, German, warring. To confuse, complex. From pi, words. To confuse, mix up. Cognates, suggest the original sense was to bring into confusion. The original sense of war was to bring into confusion. Now let's look up leadership. No, let's look up lead. Lead, right? To God, Old English, leading, transitive, cause to go with oneself, march at the head of, go before as a guide, accompany, and show the way, carry on, sprout forth, bring forth, pass one's life, causative of leading, to travel. From Proto-Germanic, legion, source, also of Old Saxon, lithen, Old Norse, litter, to go, Old High German, Galadan, to travel, Gothic, Galifin, to go, from pi, leap, to go forth. Now, I'm going to speak on warfare and leadership. Unless you have devoted serious study to warfare, you are not qualified to lead or speak on behalf of the nation. Our nation and people. The reason being is because you will never comprehend the machinations of the people who are working against us. The reason our people are still in this so-called inferior, quote-unquote, minority status in this society is because our enemies mastered the art of war and we haven't. If you knew what they knew, you would not be out here living your life as ridiculously as you do. The first step to mastering war is knowledge of self. To know yourself is to know your strengths, your weaknesses, your purpose, your motivations, your standards, your principles, and boundaries, as well as knowing those of others. You would know when you were being attacked, degraded, disrespected, and abused. You would know when someone is working against you and coaxing you to work at cross purpose to your own self. You would see the enemy and the attempts at conquering you. War isn't about guns and bombs and, combat boots and fatigues. War doesn't only consist of the armed conflicts, nor does it consist of open hostility. The highest skill in war, according to Sun Tzu in The Art of War, is defeating your enemy without even having to fight them. There are certain tactics that have been employed against the unsuspected masses for thousands of years to this day. And time again, the same types of tricks are employed. One of them is divide and conquer. Divide and conquer. The policy of maintaining control over one's subordinates or opponents by encouraging dissent between them, thereby preventing them from uniting in opposition. Divide and conquer is one of their meanest tactics, because they play to your lower self. They're going to find some type of conflict to exploit between you and the person that you're supposed to be unified against them with. Once they create a division and a unity, that would allow them to exploit the difference and play the intermediary. From the intermediary, they can go to the advisor, and then from the advisor, they now have achieved a position of authority in your life, which they take as a position of power. Though power and authority aren't the same thing, but we tend to give it that. As the dependence grows from the rival factions, they can dominate and then control. Another tactic they use is bread and circus. Bread and circuses, a diet of entertainment or political policies on which the masses are fed to keep them happy and docile. With football and politics as the bread and circuses of our decadent empire, wither religion. I don't even know what that last line was about. However, initially it's saying that it's a diet of entertainment and political policies on which the masses are fed to keep them happy. By political policies, they're talking about welfare, even down to the PPP loans, all that money that they gave to people, the stimulus checks. Yeah, that's part of the bread and circuses. They give you something that hold you content, but they give it to you in exact measure. They get you dependent upon it, and they create that loop, that feedback loop, that dopamine drip. And that's how they take your thoughts over. It's all an algorithm, it's games. Every aspect of the society has been gamification. The application of typical elements of game playing, e.g. point scoring, competition with others, rules of play, point scoring. I don't know if you realizing it, but everything is about a point score. If you go get insurance, they want to check the points. If you got a license, they give you points on your license. If you go get a credit card, you got a credit score. If you go get a bank account, you got a bank score. If you get locked up now, they got they give you a score for that to determine how they gonna do your bills. If you get a mortgage, there's you could put points down on the mortgage to lower your monthly payment. Everything is being gamified. The application of typical elements of game playing, for example, point scoring, competition with others, rules of play, to other areas of activity, typically as an online marketing technique to encourage engagement with a product or service. Gamification is exciting because it promises to make the hard stuff in life fun. So we got divide and conquer, brand circuses, and gamification. This is all part of their strategy. Every aspect is being gamified in the society, and the novelty, as well as the people being unaware, it keeps them engaged and distracted from the real issues. Everything is so, it's fun and games. And war gets dark, war gets deep, and people would rather just ignore the reality of the situation. All this confusion going on is what war is. It's mass confusion. Now, many people just don't care about rights and liberty and self-control and being able to defend themselves. Most people are only concerned about the quality of their life. They're willing to turn the other cheek and lay down as long as they can get a certain level of comfort. Then we have deception. This is a big word right here. Deception. The act of misleading, a lie, a falsehood. From Old French deception, 13th century deception, and directly from late Latin deception, nominative deceptio, of deceiving. Noun, of state or action, from past participle stem of Latin disappear, to ensnare, take in, beguile, cheat. From D, which is from, in pejorative, CD, plus compare, to take. From pod, group cat, to grasp. To grasp from. To take from. This is the key element. The taking from. They divide and conquer us. They divide us, get us, working against each other. Then they start giving out those gifts, those bread and circuses to get us content with them being the ones that we go to in the times of need. Then they gamify it, they set levels, and they put all this arbitrary nonsense in your way to make you really work for things that are naturally here, like food and resources that come from the land freely. You paying a water bill, and then they just start. The whole time they've been deceiving them. The whole time they've been taking our rights. Your rights are your property. They've been taking our property. They've been stealing from us. I'm going to get deeper into it next time. But I just want you to be aware, it's not a game out here. It's warfare. This mass confusion. That they're doing it, they're breaking it down even to the children. We have to define our realities for ourselves. And we have to take that hard path and be leaders. This is only part one. I'm going to get a lot deeper into this. Just bear with me. I got a lot of information to share with y'all. I'm not selling you nothing. I'm just trying to tell you something. So just bear with me. Stand up for your rights. Learn your origins. Know yourself.